number one reason people quit isn't the job, it's the manager. And if you're the one leading the team, that manager might be you. This one's for two kinds of people. The manager who thinks they're being patient and nice, and the candidate who is about to accept an offer from one of them. Because easy to work with and someone who makes the hard call are not always the same manager. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which one you're dealing with, or which one you've become today. Leadership researcher Brené Brown put it this way: it turns out that trust is in fact earned in the smallest of moments. It is earned not through heroic deeds or even highly visible actions, but through paying attention, listening, and gestures of genuine care and connection. That is the piece that most people miss. Leadership isn't built in the big speech. It's built in the small moments you choose to show up in. Most people can handle any challenging situation at work if they have a good manager, a really good manager. Managers aren't meant to be babysitters at work. Managers have a real purpose to serve their teams. Unfortunately, we're living in a time where businesses are stripping away a lot of power and still demanding more from their teams. Managers have to develop an even more difficult level of skill as leaders. John Maxwell frames the job itself this way: anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. Leaders who are good navigators are capable of taking their people just about anywhere. Charting the course starts with naming exactly where it quietly goes wrong. Let's break it down. If you're the manager, you tell yourself you're being thoughtful, even generous, giving people space, waiting for the right moment to say the hard thing. Here's the truth that nobody tells you about management. Most managers got promoted because they were good at their work, not because anyone taught them how to lead people, especially not in moments of discomfort. So when conflict shows up, most managers default to what got them there. You stay quiet, you stay careful, you call it patience. I strongly believe that the core of being a good and effective manager is caring for your people. Your team will always know how much you care about them, their work, and the team. You can care for them even when you don't like the company. You cannot move people to action unless you first move them with emotion. The heart comes before the head. John Maxwell. You see, your team isn't experiencing your patience. They're experiencing your absence. Being clear is kind. Being clear shows that you care for them. Clarity doesn't necessarily lead to instant happiness, but it's good for them. I coached a director last year whose top report had been underperforming for 4 months. He knew. The report probably knew too. But nobody said anything. By the time he finally thought to bring it up, the report had already accepted an offer somewhere else. Once something is tolerated, it's interpreted as permission. But responsibility runs in both directions here. We're living in a time when employees will resign all responsibility if they ask more of them. It's easier to say, "Not my problem," or "They don't pay me enough to care." There may be some portion of truth in those statements, but that's not who we are called to be. Your quality of work should not be dictated by other people's decisions. You have the power to decide to do good work regardless of the situation because you value doing good work, making an impact today, and giving it the best you can. If you choose to listen to the lazy voice and give your minimum, that is your prerogative. But I want to challenge you to more. None of us do our work out of the goodness of our hearts. We do it to earn money. That's probably the core purpose of work today, earning enough to live. But what if we expected more out of ourselves and our teams? And that expectation doesn't disappear just because you're not the one in charge yet. For the candidate, you won't hear it described that way in an interview. You'll hear, "We're pretty hands off here." You'll hear, "We'll trust our people to figure it out." That is a different marketing tactic to convey the same thing as the passive manager. Here's what's true either way. Silence isn't neutral. Like everything else, it has a cost. The team pays for it in confusion, in gossip, and in the slow decision to stop caring. And the person walking in new inherits it all on day one, even when there's no name for it yet, or even before they can even fully realize the full situation. I've managed teams for well over a decade and coached leaders and job seekers through this exact situation from both sides of the table. And I can tell you, the managers who struggle with this aren't bad people. In fact, I've really enjoyed working with most of them. It's just that it's comfortable to give your bare minimum and keep getting paid without giving more of yourself. I do not believe that's as satisfying as they think. I see that most of them are avoiding a version of themselves they just don't feel ready to be yet. So here are 4 signs you're managing for impact. If you're leading, this is what it's costing you. If you're interviewing, this is what to listen for. 1. The anxiety vacuum. Managers. When you don't give direction and your people lack clarity, even the smartest, most talented people don't sit patiently in the unknown. They will fill in the gap, and they don't fill it in with the best versions. They typically fill it in with the worst version of what could be true. That is not a rumor problem. It's your problem and your responsibility to act and provide clarity. Candidates, ask, how does your manager communicate decisions that affect the whole team? Listen for specifics, a name, a channel, a rhythm. Usually, a vague answer means they don't have a process. That's just the first crack. Leave it alone, and it doesn't stay contained. 2. Maintenance mode. Managers, when nobody knows exactly what is rewarded, your team stops taking any initiative and just starts maintaining with minimum effort. Even when incentives aren't spoken, employees will always be looking for a way to find ways to improve or protect their place. If the team is stuck without moving anything forward, if they just look like they're working to stay busy, I'm sorry to say, you did not build a stable team. You built a team that's afraid to do anything wrong in front of you. They are focused on not getting attention, to not get fired, nothing more. Candidates, ask, what's something the team improved on in the last 6 months? If the answer is vague or nothing, you're looking at a stalled team with artificial stability. Give them enough time and you will arrive at the final stage. 3. The quiet exit. Managers, your best people don't typically quit loudly like on Jerry Maguire. They quietly quit first. Then they eventually submit their resignation letter. And when they leave, they tell you it was just the right opportunity. It was probably the work, the environment, or even the lack of support that you didn't give. The most common reason people leave is their manager. And this is where you have to take an honest look at how you have led. Candidates, ask, why is this role open and how long was the last person in it? Look at the connection and see the trend. 4. The friction of conviction. Here's the pattern underneath the other 3. Managers, bold decisions usually require being temporarily unpopular. I know it's not fun. Most managers were never taught that discomfort is part of the job they signed up for. If you're prioritizing your peace and comfort, your team will pay the price. Your job is to help them, to serve them, to think of the bigger picture, even if you have to help make a change. I've seen many managers trade conviction for consensus and call it collaboration. But a team led by consensus doesn't move. The best managers inspire change rather than just imposing it from on top. Maybe it's telling a talented person on your team that their attitude is costing the team more than their output is worth. Maybe it's killing a project that your stakeholder loves because the data says it will rob the team of profitability and is unsustainable. Those types of decisions definitely won't make them like you more. But the whole team suffers if you don't do your job. This is part of why management is not for everyone. Candidates. Notice whether they talk about decisions they made or decisions the team made. Decisions that they landed on together every single time. Every leader needs some consensus sometimes. A leader who never disappoints anyone isn't leading. They're serving themselves instead of their people. So here's what to do with this. 2 moves, but the same principle. If you're the manager, pick the one conversation you've been delaying because the timing just didn't feel right. Not the easy one, the one you've rehearsed in the shower and never said out loud. You should have this by Friday. Not because you finally have all the data, because your team is already filling in the blanks for you. And now they're fearing the worst. If you don't know how to start, try this. I want to talk about something I've been putting off, and I should have brought it up sooner. Say it in the first 10 seconds so you take accountability and reclaim your role. If you're the candidate, pick one of these 4 questions. Ask it before you accept. Note that this is not about trying to trick them or catch them in a lie. The point is to see if they are willing to handle the discomfort of a real answer. Either way, stop waiting for clarity to show up on its own, because clarity was never really the finish line. It was always just the doorway leading to the path to take. Here is what I hope you walk away with. Whether you're the one leading the team or an individual contributor, you were not made to just maintain. You were made to make an impact and to move something forward. You have to accept true leaders will never be able to make everyone happy. It's impossible. Teams desire to follow someone worth following. John Maxwell put it simply: to lead yourself, use your head. To lead others, use your heart. That is the shift underneath everything we walk through today. Every hard conversation you avoid isn't protecting your team. It's costing them the leader they actually need you to become. If you're the one being led, don't spend years of your life inside a maintenance mode team, especially one that you could have spotted in the interview. Your work is not just a job. It's where a huge share of your purpose gets lived out, day by day, decision by decision. Don't look for unreachable perfection. Choose the room and the leader worthy of that. Because at the end of the day, this was never really about management style. It's about whether you're willing to be the kind of person, leader, or teammate who moves towards what matters. Even when it's uncomfortable, even when it challenges you more than you want. It's beyond a communication skill. That is a real decision about who you are going to be. I believe you weren't given your skills, your position, your influence, just so you can keep things comfortable for yourself. You were given them to build something, to grow people, to move a mission forward, to leave a team better than you found it. That is stewardship of the opportunity that you have been given. That is true servant leadership. Instead of staying safe and trying to be liked, showing up fully for the people and the purpose in front of you. So whichever seat that you're in right now, stop settling for passive. Step in, speak up, Lead like it matters, because it truly does. This is the exact work I do, helping leaders move from careful to clear, and helping people make career decisions with real clarity instead of guesswork. If either one of these is where you're stuck, it's worth a real conversation. I'll link it below. My name is Chris Almanza, career and purpose coach and speaker. I wish you peace and success. God bless you.